Hello. Sorry to interrupt, but welcome to Katholikos. So this is a new podcast I'm launching. This is the first episode. I shot this a while back, but I have not recorded anymore yet, and I'm going to start doing that more often. I figured out the editing process a little bit, made it a little smoother, and I think I'm going to start to have a little more direction. So this is one of the new things I'm going to be starting up soon. I'm going to be working on a few more things, but this is the one I think I'm most excited about. There's a lot of potential here, and I think it'll be something that'll be fun to work on. I think there's not a lot of good Catholic content for young people out there. There's plenty. Obviously, there's Father Mike Schmitz and, Pints with Aquinas, but I think they don't showcase enough how young and bright the church is. So I think, working on bringing those faces to the forefront, especially going to UC and knowing so many great, wonderful young Catholics, I have a great opportunity to really showcase a lot of those faces and a lot of those people. So hopefully it'll be a good way to, bring the young church alive and have people really experience it. So hope you enjoy. This one was a great episode. Miggy and Joey are two of my best buds, two fantastic guys, and I think just a huge showcase of just how great the Catholic Bearcat community is. So hope you guys enjoy. All right, we're rolling. Let's go. Welcome to the first official episode of what is currently called Katholikos. We've got Miggy and Joey here. I'm your host, Brendan. So this is exciting. You guys are the first guests of this new podcast.
So honored.
So the vision with this podcast comes from our beloved Sam Ritzy, who is now in Arizona. Be praying for him for sure. He's doing good out there. But I'm going to move that. He is. So he came up with this idea for essentially a Catholic sports talk show where two people from like different groups kind of have a discussion, but obviously since we're Catholic, it's more about finding the universal part. So the Katholikos is the root for Catholic, which means universal. So we're trying to find the root of what makes us all Catholic and why we all practice the same faith. So that all comes from Sam Ritzy. Shout out to him for the idea. But I'm making it happen. So tell us about yourselves. Just introduce yourselves.
Please, Joey.
I am Joey Lopain. I am a student at the University of Cincinnati, currently on co-op. I am also engaged.
Woo!
And
very impressive.
And
considering neither of us are.
Currently going through marriage prep and preparation of the lifelong vocation.
Exciting.
Awesome.
Miggy?
Yeah, so my name is Miggy, or Miguel Patag. I am a senior at Indiana State University in engineering, but that is probably going to change, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
As soon as I graduate in May. I'm also working full-time at Honeywell Intelligrated in Mason, more engineering, and again, things that hopefully I will be leaving behind shortly. As for why that is, I'm currently in application to Mount St. Mary's Seminary of the West. So Cincinnati's seminary in Anderson Township. And just in process with that and hoping that it goes as God intends.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go.
So that really helps that you guys, included why you're here in our introduction. We're here today to talk about discerning vocation, specifically the vocations of marriage and the priesthood. So I couldn't think of two better guys to have on here. Joey just got engaged, in the last 2 months?
3 of October.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been so long.
Yeah. It really
Time
has.
is really fast. And then when did you start your application process?
Well, the funny thing is, around the same timing is actually when I was seriously like, okay, actually make a move here. So the actual timing of when I started the application is a little wonky, but I was determined at the end of October to this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yep.
Nice. All right. Well, I wrote some questions down before you guys got here, so we'll jump right into those. So kind of, I wrote down pretty much as close to the same questions for both of you as I could. But Miggy just told us a little bit about his experience with Discerning Seminary, just, very lightly.
Very lightly. Yeah.
But if you guys want to go more in depth on discerning your vocation, so Joe, your experience with discerning and your engagement to Alora, and Miggy, your discernment, engaging yourself to the bride of Christ.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to go first. It's entirely up to you guys what order this happens in.
Always defer to Joey in this case.
So really the discernment process was throughout the entirety of my relationship with Alora. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times for me, it came down to the when, and because I was already settled on the who.
Yeah.
And so a big struggle that I had was when should I officially get engaged? I had my parents talking to me about getting married after college. I had Alora telling me do it when you feel best about doing it.
Yeah.
And also pushing me towards sooner rather than later.
Of course.
Naturally.
I mean, that makes sense.
But and then also just through spiritual direction here with Father Ethan, and just also figuring out my own relationship with the Lord and what he's calling me to, and when he was calling me to officially take that next step.
Yeah.
So I would really say that things started moving for me earlier this last summer. Mm-hmm. Was when I was really meeting with Father Ethan, and saving up for a ring, and
all the
really cleaning,
just
cleaning house, essentially, just really detaching myself from a lot of things that qualities that I did not want to bring into marriage. And so
that makes sense. Yeah, so it was just a lot of obviously a good balance of prayer and just talking to people that know the relationship, knew where you guys were at, and obviously talking to Alora, because at the end of the day, it is down to you too.
Pass it by her.
Yeah, just make sure she's on the same page. So we're on, we're getting married,
we're
right?
Cool.
It just talking to people outside of the relationship itself, because a lot of times you have those rose-colored glasses.
Yes,
it's just
exactly.
You get very caught up in the relationship itself, and you have to take a step back and talk to my parents. I talked to her parents beforehand as well.
Yeah.
And just close friends and the priests here you see
for sure.
And just really that helped me gauge my next steps moving forward, and also just committed time to going to the church itself, and spending time going to Mogo and just sitting and praying.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Miggy, what about your experience with discernment?
Well, hearing Joey's experience, mine's a lot more chaotic, I would say, and sort of long-winded. I'll try and keep it, shorter than.
Don't think that mine wasn't chaotic.
We got time. If you want to get long-winded about it, get long-winded about it.
Okay. So
My questions get weaker
Yeah.
as the show goes on.
That's
These are
totally okay.
we're starting out strong with this question. This is
Yeah, this is the mean potato.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really beyond this point people will stop listening.
Oh, yeah.
Like they'll yell, "Oh, Joey did this, Maggie did that. I'll do those things." And then nothing else beyond that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, fair enough. Fair
We'll
enough.
see.
Yeah, so as I was thinking about this, knowing what the topic was going to be, I was trying to go back and look at my life, look at the past, and see just how the Lord was leading me to this moment. And I have to say there were a few moments here and there when I was a younger kid, where I was just beginning to fall in love with the faith and the beauty that was present there. But the thought of priesthood itself didn't really enter my mind until I want to say 2015 or so, because that was my first experience with St. Gertrude Youth Ministry, as you probably remember well.
Oh yeah, good times.
And there was just a really powerful retreat that I went on for, I think, fall semester. I was just getting into it with high school, towards the end of my high school career. And during that retreat, I had the opportunity to be in this, have this beautiful encounter and adoration with the Lord, where I just felt really in a really good way, crushed by the weight of my sins. And so I felt I was really being shoved towards confession. And so my whole body was kind of vibrating, and I was I felt like something was really off with me, and I had to get to confession. Had to do that. So as soon as I did, I found the priest was just so kindly, as I was laying it all out there. What was going on in my life, the sins I was struggling with at the time, and he just his words, I don't really remember what they were, but the kindness and the tenderness with which he welcomed me was a really powerful witness. And I think that's one of the first moments where I was there's something here that I need to look at. It didn't it wasn't formally priesthood right there, but there was the beauty, another encounter with that. 2016 rolls around, and I've just lived my best semester, all that, getting ready to finish that out, leave for college. I say leave, but I went to local college, but leave high school,
not that part
right.
of the city.
And so I decided, I was all right, we're gonna have the biggest post high school summer that I can possibly have. So I was all right, we're going to do all the Catholic things. We're going to go on 3 different retreats. And those 3 retreats,
Abide
was one of them.
Yes,
you
go.
remember.
Abide is such a good retreat.
Yeah.
Do they still have that?
I think they got rid of it. I don't know what happened there, but with archdiocese restructuring and all that. Yeah,
definitely
so
want
many
them to come back,
ministries.
because that was such a huge part of my high school experience.
Yeah.
But
especially towards the end. Yeah. So
Fortunately, I never got to.
We'll have to bring it back for you, just so you can lead it and experience it. Yeah, with a whole bunch of lovely high schoolers.
That was where I spiked on a nun in 9 Square.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We also have to relive that at some point, or maybe later in this podcast.
We'll bring that up later.
Yeah.
We'll get through this one. Not to get lost in the weeds.
Yeah,
Anyways.
you're right.
So Abide and 2 other retreats.
So the first one, because I'm trying to think chronologically, was Eagle Eye Summer Institute in Cary, Ohio, at Our Lady of Consolation.
Okay.
So really beautiful basilica. Just a week spent with a bunch of high schoolers that I had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of thrown into it because of my older sister, who was like, this is a great thing. She did like a 3-month-long version of the retreat. It was just like, you have to go to this. So went with it. The second one was, I'll count it as a retreat, but really it was a conference, Steubenville conference.
Yeah.
So just like a weekend.
That was always lumped in.
Yeah.
Like that was big St. Gertrude's marketing with Steubenville and Abide were like the two big things they pushed for everyone. I actually never got an opportunity to go to Steubenville.
Oh, yeah.
I always picked Abide, and then my senior year, I was just like, had so many other things going on that I just couldn't go to either, which was really unfortunate, but
yeah, we really missed you at Abide.
Yeah. But I had
especially
other stuff going on, but
I was more on the Steubenville side. I went every single summer of my
I always heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
And I regret not going, but I've obviously it worked out in the end, so
all good experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as these 3 retreats were concerned, so Eagle Eye, you enter into the life of the community of St. John, and they really emphasize times of silent prayer, and just having the opportunity to sit with the philosophy and theology classes that they offer through the week, and then you just take that and you sit with the Lord and just have that time to rest with him. So that's probably where the idea of priesthood was like formally introduced. I was like, wait a second, I'm loving this. I'm loving the things I'm learning, the way that the Liturgy of the Hours is. I think that was also one of my earlier introductions to Liturgy of the Hours.
The Abide was that for me. They had morning prayer every morning, and I think I went like 3 times, across the 2 times I went to Abide, but still there was like 3 experiences, and then coming to Household and having that experience with morning prayer was like, oh, I actually kind of know what I'm doing. But
so it really served like as an introduction to that structure, and it was just, again, really beautiful. And I ended up talking to one of the brothers who's now a priest. I think his name is Father Philip. And we just kind of talked through this thing, because at the time I was also kind of competing with feelings for this one girl in high school.
That's a whole nother question.
That's a whole.
We're getting to that question next.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Like I said, it slowly goes downhill. That's the first big drop. It's question 1, question 2.
Right. I'm so excited for that. That retreat left me with the thought of priesthood, exiting it. And when I went to Steubenville, I think I remember during one of the talks, there was this lay person who was talking about, kind of the superhero-esque, support that he received from a priest, and I think a whole bunch of priests, at a time when I think his wife was struggling with a pregnancy. Just kind of hearing that, again, that kind of witness, that ministry was very appealing. So naturally, at the end of like the conference for the final mass, when they're like, anyone who's thinking about being a priest, stand up, raise your hand. I was like, all right, I'm gonna. There we go.
I guess,
I was like, all right, you called me out, and then I did, and a lot of people were kind of surprised at that, but I was just like, this feels right. And then the Abide conference, going into that, like preparing for the street evangelization at the end.
That was
really powerful encounter.
Such a cool experience.
With so many people, out on the streets of Cincinnati. I would love to do that again.
I think that is the biggest thing that I took away from Abide, is because we've done that since with I think Catholic Bearcat has done that a couple times. SPO I know has done that a couple times, and having that pre-existing experience from high school and going to do that now as an adult is I actually feel better equipped from this, from my experience as a 16-year-old than I have with anything I've learned since I've entered college, Well, which is like not a knock on, obviously SPO or Catholic Bearcat. That's not a knock on them. It's just like that week-long experience, or like half a week-long experience of just like, hey, here's how you do street evangelization, was like a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
But
Again, so all those 3 experiences wrapped together kind of gave me the push to look at this House of Discernment in Princeville, Illinois, so little town near Peoria. And I was like, all right, I got to go to college. So I went and got my associate's degree first. So there's this 2-year gap, which will probably be covered in the next question you're gonna ask.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'd heard about that from the Eagle Eye Retreat, and I was like, okay, in time I'm gonna go there, and I ended up going. And that is one of the probably most difficult spiritual like times of my life, because there was a very specific experience there in adoration that I'm like part of me is like debating like, is now the time to like reveal this on like a podcast, or do I wait like until it's like really confirmed? Yeah, but there was just a very clear understanding that I had, that I was like, God wants me to like be a priest. And naturally, when that occurred, I was immediately crushed, like crushed to the depths. And I remember like breaking down in adoration like immediately after receiving that, and just through this what was gonna be a beautiful time of silence, just through this process of discernment at this House of Discernment, was now just me going into a whirlpool every time, just like spiraling down and into the abyss. And it like having different experiences, going out with the brothers, talking to many different brothers actually about this, it staved it off for a little bit. But every time I would come back to the thought, I was like, I have to do this. I have to be a priest. It just drove me further and further. And I kind of hate to admit it, but I mean, it is part of my experience that I ended up leaving the House of Discernment earlier than I planned. So I ended up staying for like 6 months, instead of the 10 that I was supposed to be there.
Okay.
I left right after World Youth Day, because I couldn't really do it anymore. And then I ended up after that leaving the House of Discernment, coming back to Cincinnati, getting a job, and starting to date the girl from high school that I mentioned. And that lasted.
So you get, I'm a priest. Let me go start dating this girl.
Yeah, exactly. So you can already tell jumps. Just like how how badly I like botched the process. But you know what,
so you're the what not to do guy.
Exactly. So I'm definitely if you're gonna learn anything, learn from my failure. But so that relationship lasted for about a year, and then she broke things off with me. End of 2019, and so that process left me crushed again. I was like so intent on this is the girl I'm gonna marry, and then no. So I was like, I was very close to like proposing. So you're a whole step further than I got. So COVID also hit, so that didn't help pretty quickly thereafter. But 2020, I got a whole group of friends that really supported each other through that difficult time. And towards the end of 2020, I found Catholic Bearcat.
A classic.
Got more integrated into that. I had the example of the young priests. I enjoyed the community. The community was building me up. The things like the spiritual practices that I'd let kind of drop off, like the liturgy of the hours, altar serving, things that I felt I couldn't really do because my heart was so divided. I came back to them and was able to like really grow in loving them. So yeah, in recent months, I don't. There have been very few masses, at least at St. Monica St. George, that I haven't served. Yeah, it hasn't felt right to just be sitting there. You know? As far as I'm going really long with this. I apologize to everybody, but
it's a podcast for a reason.
You're right. 2021. So end of 2021 was when I actually, like, even before I get to thinking about priesthood again and being open to the idea, I actually felt reopened enough to start asking girls out again. And so I asked out a fair number of people, like all really good people. I still think even after, but obviously those either didn't really go anywhere, or there was one where I actually was like, oh, and that was probably my last one. Was my last one.
Yeah. As of right
now, unless something changes.
Unless something drastically changes again.
Yeah.
Last one.
All
things going to plan.
Right.
Definitely last one.
So I was like, hey, something's been put on my heart again.
Yeah.
I have to do this.
You did what a lot of Catholic girls do to Catholic guys.
Yeah.
You got to do to someone.
So I still feel like, a fair amount of guilt about that.
At least you're actually following through with it.
Those were not idle words.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I feel convicted to do. And I'm following through until it doesn't pan out. Where was I?
End of 2021, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this went all the way through like early to mid 2022. Just like, maybe asking a few people out here and there, like as I live. And then finally, the question of priesthood came back like really strongly, and I kept wrestling with that. For whatever reason, God was like, oh yeah, when you're like content to start trying to pursue women again, here's when I'm gonna
by the way,
poke you.
Stop.
Exactly. I mean, I guess it goes with the old saying, like, God can't move a parked car. So I was making moves, taking steps to try and figure something out.
You're trying
to
parallel park in like a spot that you're supposed to just back into.
Right. That's probably a good analogy. Yeah. And eventually the movements got strong enough where I was like, okay, behold, and another Eagle Eye retreat.
Yeah.
Those are two like kickers that were like, okay, here we go. And finally another adoration experience at the Eagle Eye retreat, where I again kind of declared it, like, Lord, I'm done fighting you. And that is when, like, from that point, I was like, yep, we're going to go pursue the priesthood. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's my very
your fun
winded, highly abbreviated as well still. But,
but I get why you call it chaotic. There was a lot going on there.
Is all over the place, was all over the place, probably still will be. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for sharing that. Now, let's get into the fun question. What have been your other or past experiences with dating? Or, your experiences with dating your future spouse? Specifically looking at Joey.
This is really funny for me because I've only been in one serious relationship.
Yeah.
And
I knew that going into this question, but I figured I'd still ask anyways.
And there was one time in sophomore year where like I liked a girl, and then I like tried to do a half date where it's like I'm gonna kind of ask her, but like there's also gonna be people there.
Hey, do you want to hang out?
Well, it was going to Kings Island.
Oh, the ultimate non-committal. Hey, let's go on a date.
but it was more in the sense that like other people were invited, but they didn't show up. Type of way.
So it was,
dude, 8th grade homeschool me would have been. All right, here we go. Game time.
and nothing really ever came out of that. And
I mean, yeah, we figured
clearly,
out. Again,
like
there's a reason you're here.
Nothing further than that.
Yeah,
it was just like that one time going to Kings Island.
Yeah,
it rained pretty much the entire day. It kind of sucked, honestly.
Yeah,
that's a real classic.
And then I dated another girl my junior to senior summer. It was only for 2 months. It was a girl that I went to prom with, and then caught feelings for, and
understandably
started another classic high school experience. You're like, and this is 2 for 2 on cliches.
And this is a case of everyone told me I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I did it anyways. And there's a very visceral memory of me telling my high school friends that I had like officially set up a date with this girl, and we were all having ice cream in the parking lot, and my friend Zach, he literally dropped his ice cream to chase me to try and like strangle me and get it out of me. It's like, why are you doing this?
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Those are the friends you need. Yeah.
Yep. Those are the friends you ask, should I marry this girl? And when they say yes, you go, all right.
Sweet. Seal of approval.
It was, the entire experience was very much me initiating a lot of conversations, texts, all of that.
Doing all the things Tim told us last night not to do.
And it's just like, honestly, it was really more dating for the sake of like, just like,
saying
status.
I have a girlfriend. Yeah,
I have a girlfriend.
Cool point.
And it all came to its tumultuous end after homecoming, when I got ghosted after the night of homecoming, and wasn't didn't get any sort of text or call for 2 weeks, and I figured it was over.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I was just like, I'm not dating for the rest of high school. Dating during high school is not worth it at all.
It's not.
No one knows what they're doing.
It really isn't.
No one understands who they are. Everyone has a lot of growth that they still want to go through.
Yep.
It's one of those like high school things of like, I'm trying to grow up. I'm an adult. I can date people. No, you can't. You're a kid.
Yep.
You don't know anything. That's right. We can cuss in the second episode, not this one.
Oh, okay. All right. This is the nice.
This is the nice, clean. Try and keep it clean, but no one. I am gonna cut all of this part. No one knows shit. Like, that's just the reality of it. No one knows anything.
True words.
Yeah, high school dating is pointless. Kids, don't do it. Don't date in high school.
Plus, like I watched so many of my friends just drop out of relationships because of like trying to do long distance, going to different colleges, and
just long distance. Yeah.
It was nothing that I ever desired. When after I got out of that relationship in like October of my senior year, and so I just like committed myself, like I'm not gonna date. And I also said when I got into college that I'm not going to date. I spent a lot of time in my first semester of college, the typical party scene.
Because you went to St. X.
Going drinking and stuff, and just generally being unhappy with where I was at. until I went to Seek in Indianapolis, and that's when I heard of Exodus, and I had like kind of went to a couple of Catholic Bearcat events, but it wasn't until I got invited into a Exodus 90 group that like I just like fully got submerged into everything. It ended up drawing me out of the party scene with a lot of my friends, and just like allowing me to grow more, just more, just deeper friendships, and like, because I watched my entire like friend group from high school just fall apart. And I hated taking sides and watching that whole experience.
For sure.
And it provided a way to like ground me during all of that, and starting to get to know a lot of the guys who were in household at that time. And so also during all of that time, I didn't know it at the time, but the Lord was just preparing my heart for eventually meeting Alora. And so after Exodus finishes, it was great. I didn't have to take cold showers anymore. It was fantastic. And I just like was left with this feeling of like I need to go back to that somehow. It was just like this was such an amazing experience. I enjoyed the like suffering of it, and I kept up a lot of things up until I broke my leg when I found out that I got into the at DAP, the industrial design program. And
So wait.
Wait.
Go into that story a little more.
I'll go into it more. So there was no alcohol involved.
I've heard this story before, but
me and two of my high school friends, I told them the news. I got into DAP. Like, this is super awesome. That's another whole. Actually, no, I'll go into.
Engineering sucks. That's what.
I'll go into that. I'll go into that process of like discerning. Getting out of engineering after the story. So I found out that I got into DAP, and I was just like, oh, we need to go out to dinner or something. And so
we need to celebrate.
We went to a wing place, just like a local wing place in Fairfield, and we then went back to my friend's house. He has a golf cart, and so we just would drive it around his house. And as we were listening to the song Deja Vu, one of my friends decides that he wants to try to drift.
Of course.
Natural.
And
you have to if you're listening to that song.
As we start drifting, we hit a gopher hole, and the golf cart tips to my side. I was in the passenger seat. And I broke my leg in 3 places.
Oh, fun.
And I didn't, the golf cart didn't fall onto my leg, but like, I had still hit like the front of the dashboard with my leg. And so I was laid up the entire summer. I had to get surgery. I had to miss my family vacation to a beach house in Florida.
Yikes.
Oh, man.
That was with like all of my extended family and cousins and stuff. So it was just like that one really sucked for me because I was like I really wanted to spend time with my cousins, and I had to stay home and get surgery. Was laid up for 6 weeks post surgery. Got into a boot. Was in a boot for 6 more weeks doing PT, and then finally the day that I move into UC for my sophomore year, I get the boot off and I can.
You're free.
I can like walk around, and so I decide that I want to do frisbee because I wanted to like gain some strength back. I could visibly see that my leg had lost
Yeah.
muscle mass. And so I just wanted to just join the Catholic Bearcat community and join the Frisbee team. And so, long story short, there was a girl that I liked that wasn't Alora.
Yeah.
And I had
Ooh.
joined the Frisbee team
Intrigue.
to get to know her. Funny enough that when I joined that Frisbee team and after that first night, I walked Alora home.
Ah.
And from that moment on, I just the Lord just called me to this amazing relationship through all of the ups and downs throughout the last 3 years. It was just like we were able to make it through COVID and
A short amount of long distance
And-
when you were in Rhode Island.
doing long distance through my co-op in Rhode Island. And something that I really noticed was that I was never being called away from Alora. God could have taken me in so many different directions, but throughout all of my co-ops, where like I could have been moved to California, I could have gone to Iowa or Milwaukee, or just like there's a bunch of different places that I could have gone. And all of my experiences, I was able to have like close contact with Alora.
Yeah.
And so like during my co-op with Hasbro, they're located in Rhode Island, and so I was actually online for that, and I got to stay in Cincinnati and be with Catholic Bearcat and also spend time with Laura. And then I went up to Rhode Island for the second half of that semester, and then spent the end of November to Christmas there in Rhode Island. And so like there was that, and then also with my co-op at Jack Rouse, it was also in Cincinnati, and then coming to Jack Rouse again for a second one. It was just like all of these experiences that I could have done somehow still located me here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And those experiences are no short of anything like amazing.
Yeah.
Because like being in industrial design, being a designer, like I'm getting to do like all the stuff that I ever dreamed of doing. And being able to design toys at Hasbro, being able to design games, getting into the theme park and museum business at Jack Rouse, and
Dude,
getting,
that's a really
getting
cool
to
stuff.
work on Kings Island. I'm sitting here I'm blown away by how like God led me in all of that.
Yeah.
Because like I would sit there and I would be like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go with any of my co-ops, and I know that anywhere I go is going to take me like far away from Alora, and we're going to have to figure out long distance and all of that. And like I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do, but all I knew is that I really enjoyed doing expressions, doing anything that has some sort of character, some fun faces, or just like anything that like brings something to life, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that's found in toy design. A lot of toys have like
Facial features or something like
character,
that. Yeah.
like characteristics, like even cars and stuff. Like they have faces. They're fun. Like inanimate objects and stuff like that. And like getting to do experiential design at Jack Rouse. That's like, it's still that like same style of drawing where it's like I get to like be in the mind of a kid and like think about like, oh, this is what they would want to do, or this is what they'd want to interact with here, and getting to work on a project like Kings Island was also just a childhood dream as well, just playing like Planet Coaster or like playing Thrillville. Playing
You were a Thrillville kid?
I was a Thrillville kid.
See, I was a Roller Coaster Tycoon kid.
I did play Roller Coaster Tycoon too.
Yeah.
But because I had a Wii, I played Thrillville.
Okay. See, I had like one of the original like Lego Star Wars games, and they had like ads for other games in it, and the ad for one was Thrillville, and I was like, that'd be kind of fun. But then I would just log into our computer and play Roller Coaster Tycoon instead. And I was like, all right, this is the same game. Like, even 8-year-old me could recognize they're the same game. But anyways, yeah. So having that past experience of like building roller coasters in video games like led to your passion for that pretty much.
Yeah, I mean like, and also just like my family has always just loved going to Cedar Point, going to Kings Island, very much coaster family.
Yeah.
And so especially nowadays, now that my younger brother has gotten older and gotten more into like actually knowing companies and stuff, of like manufacturers and whatnot.
I don't know any of that, but I'm sure it'd be fun to go to like Kings Island with your family and be like, all right, what's that one?
I could name every single coaster at Kings Island and what the manufacturer is, and
that's
all of that.
Like wild stuff to me.
It's mostly B&M, but that's because they're located here in Ohio.
That makes sense. I mean, to be fair, I have that level of understanding of other things that are like probably way more useless than that, because like that's cool information. That's like not a lot of people know that. Can definitely win you a trivia contest. You know, definitely valuable stuff to like know, because like who else knows that? You know, that's cool, fun stuff to like have that knowledge. But yeah, good stuff.
And so, going back to in college, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I had my crisis during my my first semester of college, and being like, I have like I have no place that I know where to go. I wasn't going to church. I knew I should have, but I wasn't, because all of my friends decided to do homework on Sunday when it was due on Sunday, and so I made the excuse of, well, I need to go do my homework with them, because if I don't do my homework with them, I won't get it done. I know I could have gone on Saturday, but I just like had that excuse for myself. And so I just, that through all of that, and going out drinking, all of that experience, it kind of culminated when I always like to say that I get physically hurt when God wants me to change something in my life. It happened when I got trigger finger in my hand for rowing, and I decided to quit rowing and pursue doing art. It happened when I needed to get my appendix out, and I decided to change from engineering to pursuing DAP and ID, and it's just like all these moments of just like, this is where something changes.
It's nice to have that physical indicator for it.
Yeah.
You know,
It
I think a
feel
lot of people would ask.
It doesn't
that.
That'd be interesting.
It doesn't feel great in the moment.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but like, you know, like, all right, something big is gonna change soon. What is it? like
I broke my leg, and then I went to Frisbee, met Laura, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
like,
significant moment.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just like I think that God definitely has a very interesting sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he does.
And so that moment during my freshman year, I was just like, I was literally just like sitting outside, and I had like called my mom, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I hate engineering. I thought I wanted to do engineering. I hate it. I couldn't, I could, if I really pushed myself, I could get good grades. But it was getting to the point where I was spending so much time on homework that like I just decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, doing calculus was just like, yeah, my roommate's just basically doing it for me when, as he's explaining it, he's basically just doing it for me as he's explaining it. And I decided that after talking to my advisor that I was going to drop out of calculus to then raise my GPA to then get into DAP, which was quite the conversation with my parents, because I was just like, I need to drop a class so I can raise my GPA. Even though I'm not failing the class, I had a C at the time. So I wasn't failing the class, and it didn't make any sense to my parents at all. They're just like, why would you drop a class? But what ended up happening was it freed up more time for me to do better in my other classes, and then I supplemented that with some AP classes, and then that gave me the credit hours to get into DAP. But
Do you need a math credit for DAP?
you needed
Like,
you needed
what was it?
You needed one.
Like
Well,
applied
that's
calc?
the engineering counted as a math credit, engineering class.
ENED?
That's where I lucked out.
Dude, I had the same luck when I switched to business. ENED counted as my math credit. I was like, praise the Lord, that terrible class counted for something. I got something out of that stupid, horrible class. But so that's good. That's good that it, ended up applying as something, even though it was one of the worst classes I've ever taken.
There's definitely a lot of moments in life where you just like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? What is the purpose of this? And then you look at it later down the line like, okay, I can completely see why like I was there in that moment. And just like, I hated everything about engineering, but if I would have continued on with that program, like, I don't know where I would be at this point in time, now being 5 years into college.
You sort of firework go off. That was, I love Clifton. Woo.
And so, just like those moments of just like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but now I understand why.
Well, Maggie, what about some of your dating experiences?
Oh gosh. Trying to look back on this. I mean, see, there it goes again. That darn firework. Somebody's celebrating out
I
there.
really hope it's fireworks. I'm really pulling for fireworks.
Yep. Dating experiences. I've only ever had one serious relationship, and obviously that ended. So, I don't. Yeah, and most of it was long distance too.
Interesting.
And that was rough. 'Cause there's just that disconnect. The channels you have to go through, with I think texting, like Snapchat, and calls were just, you try and, use those as best you can, but it doesn't really substitute well.
Yeah.
So it was not the greatest experience in that respect.
For sure.
Best times were over the summers, when she was home, Cincinnati. But as far as whether I did a good job of in dating, I don't know that I did. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 19 and I didn't have a clue. I was working a job already, and that was just this is one of my first like real real experiences. Like I feel like an adult, like right?
Yeah, it's
but
just that
I'm not
like
actually an
idea
adult.
of
Yeah, and just looking back on it, there's so much where I'm just like, yeah, I could have done a lot better.
Yeah,
I would
sure.
like to think. Yeah, it's just is there. Yeah, so many mishaps. And just yeah, I still don't really know to this day like how to date properly, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't really apply to
Does
me.
anyone
This
look
one-
Me either. Like, I don't actually know how to date. I got really lucky.
You just lucked out.
Yeah.
You were like,
Whenever people ask me for dating advice, I'm just like, look, I just walked a girl home one time, and now I'm
There
gonna
you go.
marry her.
listen,
you
man,
go, yeah.
I won the lottery. Okay, like don't ask me for money advice. I just hit the jackpot. That's all it is.
Right. Although, you
Yeah.
know, it's just thinking generally about the experience.
Yeah, just like
Um,
we'll narrow this question down even further. What was your worst date you ever went on? Because I think that's always a fun story to hear.
Worst date. Oh, I got it. Not like. So I visited this girl. You know, my ex. Over Easter. And this wasn't really a date per se, but it was it was definitely one of the more memorable experiences of catastrophe. So
Oh boy, what a great opener to
yeah,
this story.
no,
Like,
no.
I'm excited now.
It's not even that. Like I might try to downplay it, but
No, play it up. Play it up for the people.
okay, yeah. It was just the worst thing. The worst thing that could have occurred. It was Good Friday. Let's start there. So Good Friday.
Off to a
we're,
killer start right there.
You know, as part of, you know, as good Catholics, you know, as part of Good Friday, right? You fast. You don't eat meat, right? And you just, you kind of suffer. You definitely suffer with the Lord. We definitely suffered that day, that Good Friday. So we spent some time together, kind of killing time, me exploring DC a little bit, and then going to her dorm before Good Friday service, because it's not mass. And so we were already kind of it had already been like a long few days beforehand, because I was traveling for work like before and after, because I ended up going to, like, I think Maryland, and at this point we were just kind of tired. We were just lazing around, been fasting, so fasting kind of takes it out of you. And so we go to Good Friday service, and at the Franciscan Monastery of the Holy Land, and it's a great time. We're I love Good Friday. It I really got to enter into the spirit then. But we were just hungry and tired afterward, and I'm trying to think what we did in between that got us to so late an hour, but we got past like dinner time, and I don't think we'd really eaten anything through the day, and oh, now I remember. Before all this, on Good Friday, we went shopping for things we could eat after the Good Friday service. So we got pasta, we got pasta sauce, we got like crackers, I think, or something. And we were just like very excited to eat something after. Well, what do you know? Like, it's late. It's past dinner time. It's past when, like, because I think they close up most shops like kind of earlier. On that day, we got back to our dorm after Good Friday service, and Stations of the Cross and all that, and we go to start cooking the pasta. All right, we have a little pot. We put the pasta in. We're like, cool. I take a look at the pasta sauce, and what do you know? It says it's one of the ingredients is meat. And
You pulled
so
the classic.
I
You
like
got
I-
meat sauce instead of pasta
I read
sauce.
I read the back, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And we were starving
Yeah.
at this point. And so obviously we couldn't eat it. Cause
Yeah, you can't eat the
you can't
sauce.
do that. Yeah. We were like rummaging around her like ingredients.
Dude, just get butter.
Like,
Just buttered noodles.
I don't think she even had butter.
What?
Like I don't remember
It's
what
a good
ingredients
thing.
she had.
It's a good
but
thing
it
you're not
was
dating
just,
this girl anymore.
yeah, it really is.
Doesn't have butter in our dorm room. What are you even doing?
I don't remember. All I know is like my brain wasn't working properly because of the hunger, and we were just like rummaging through stuff. I was like, surely there's something we can season what is already the pasta that's already cooking in the pot. There is nothing. Like we have like maybe pepper and some salt,
Pepper.
and it's just like. We cook it. We try and season it with whatever she has. I don't remember anymore. But it tasted so bad. I couldn't eat it. So I ended up going hungry that night.
That's
it just
brutal.
It was a really bad time. We were all like very, very bad moods.
There's morning though. You wake up, you have fresh pasta sauce for breakfast. You're set.
Yeah. I don't think we ever did eat that pasta. Because we had sauce but no pasta because we already tried to eat it. It probably went bad through the night. I forget if she had if she stored it away properly or not. But
Dude.
yeah, that was probably one of the most memorable,
That's brutal.
Terrible experiences I've ever had.
That's
in,
a sign.
in a dating. Yeah,
That's a sign from God
yeah.
that relationship was not meant to last.
Yeah, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah. But yeah, just generally speaking about dating, my dating experience, it was very disconnected.
Yeah.
Especially because of the long distance relationship. And you kind of get those like little high points where you get to see them in person because I went to visit her like a few times in DC. But yeah, it was just disconnected from her, disconnected from like their relationship from family. So I had some time with her and the family over like the summer and stuff, and a few points here and there, but whether it was me just like wanting more time with just her or just not having those moments with the family, I feel like that really was a point that looking back, I'm like, I wish I'd had more of that connection with everybody else and really brought her into it. I feel that's one way that, I wish I would have improved and done things better. So, really bring the people you love into it, into your relationships, because, that's especially going to be important moving forward if I get accepted to seminary, because I'm really going to need those familial connections who have supported me for so long. So, and I realized up until this point, I haven't mentioned my family, like how great they are and how supportive they've been of this whole process. Yeah. They've been really praying for me, and it's definitely been a blessing to be able to lean on them as well as the community at large. So
that's actually great leading into our next question of what are you looking forward to the most about seminary? And Joey, what are you looking forward to the most about marriage?
We can toss it back to you first.
Okay.
I will say we are coming up kind of short on that hour, so more concise answers.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Like you can still do like but just like
we're taking our sweet. We've been taking too much of our sweet time. Yeah.
But like when I checked my watch, like when we first started recording, it was 6:24. It's now 7:20. Oh. So we're past the hour mark, but some of this is gonna get cut. So
yeah, okay.
Still, like obviously
this right now.
Yeah, like this right now is all gonna get cut.
Yeah.
So feel free to like give a good answer. Just like I don't know. Time is a thing that we do. We are minorly constrained.
Much of the luxury of.
Yeah. because we do have a whole technical other episode that I do want to record tonight. So
All right, I'm so down for that. Yeah.
And that one will be less time constrained because that will just be us talking pretty much.
Nice.
With
nice.
minimal like direction.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
just not as directed.
Yeah, this
Okay.
one is the actual directed one of
This
like.
one is directed.
we
Oh
wanna-
shoot.
Yeah.
The questions are
All right. So, what are you looking forward to the most about seminary and marriage?
Well, first off, like, just the fact that I get to profess my love to Alora, just like on the altar, and being able to say yes in I understand that, like, you know, there's always someone prettier. There's always someone more athletic. There's always someone who is quote unquote more. Like I am choosing her.
Yeah.
Like everything about her, all of her flaws, all of her great attributes. Like I am committing myself to her. And much as we commit ourselves to God, like I get to emulate that in marriage, of just like there is no one else, no other idols, no other gods. Like this is my one.
Yeah.
And also just like the big part of inviting the Lord into like just our life together, and just like walking together, growing more in our faith lives together, of course, wanting to have kids. And I am super pumped because the coolest thing for me is being able to design a toy, being able to design some sort of like experience museum, and getting to see my own kids experience
that.
something that I have designed
Yeah.
is just the single coolest thing that I want to experience. And so just like that's just really something that I'm so looking forward to. And I understand that there are all of the great ups and downs of being married and having kids and all of the things that you get to endure, the late nights, all of the drama that you get to go with through all of your kids and their friends and their experiences and
All that fun stuff.
getting to just like, build up the faith in others, and getting to share my faith with my kids and grow them in the church, and also being able to have Alora there is just like such a huge support, and knowing that like no matter what, she's always got my back, and whatever we're going through, like we can do it together, is just such a blessing.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I always wanted to push in our relationship was like never to joke about breaking up.
Yeah.
Just as you would never joke about divorce in marriage. It was just like when you have those types of serious topics, joking about them is just like something that you don't want to do, because what happens when
it becomes a reality,
when it's like
you're tempted,
there's just those thoughts of like, well, what if I want to take this out? It's just like I never wanted to joke about it, and so that was something that was really big for both of us, was like, just like not ending a call early, just like, or like getting mad, or definitely not any sort of like, if we have a disagreement, any sort of name calling, cussing, anything beyond that. It was just like making sure that boundary never gets crossed. And so through all of our ups and downs throughout the last 3 years, getting to know each other on a deeper level, and just knowing that, like, yes, this is the person that I want to marry. So, yeah.
Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. As far as things I'm looking forward to most in seminary, I mean, my mind is actually running on a very similar track to Joey's, obviously in like a different context, but just thinking about it, like the phrase that's been floating in my mind like through this whole process, like actually being an application, is like, we do it together this time, right? I'm doing this with the Lord. I'm doing this wholeheartedly this time. I'm not divided anymore. I'm not, between two worlds, like afoot, like chasing a girl and then also thinking about the priesthood, going to vocation nights type thing. This is all of me. And if I can lay it down with the fullest intent, I know he's not going to let me down as I give myself in this way. And there's something, that is very peaceful about that. That's something I haven't really talked about, is like the immense peace that came from really coming to that decision of I want to be a priest, if this is the Lord's call. Because before, I really can't think of another moment where I felt more like in the depths of my heart, like, this is what I'm meant to do here and now. So to have that clear pursuit, to know that I'm not alone in it, right? Because you guys are at Seek, so you heard Seek stuff,
Yes.
There we go.
I know what it was about.
Yeah.
I went to a similar thing.
But Seek was another powerful experience, right? Where I actually joined the seminarians for seminarian-specific talks, and just those are really good opportunities, to kind of hear more about the life that I'm looking at, and also opportunities for the Lord to keep purifying me, because I had like a powerful experience there that I was really convicted about something. I ended up going to confession, and then just sitting with the Lord in adoration, and that was just something I really needed to do. So that's a big part of what I'm looking forward to in seminary, is that continual purification, to become more of the person who he's calling me to be, because as Saint Irenaeus says, right, the glory of God is man fully alive, and the glory of man is the vision of God. So to keep discovering who I am in relation to him, how he sees me, and how he wants to bless me in this fashion, is again, whatever way it ends up, whether I actually end up becoming a priest or I end up discerning out and going on to become married or something. There's just that absolute freedom that is in this decision, freely given, that some of the community of St. John, especially Father John, love to talk about, is like all options are on the table until God takes them off, and usually that's when you've made your promises, your vows, all that. But it's just pursuit and fullness of heart with the Lord. I think that's how I would sum it up. To have that beautiful opportunity.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, we're gonna skip ahead to a few questions because we are running low on time. But I think this is probably the biggest question remaining, is what is your biggest fear going into your your at least presumed vocation? It's like, what's your biggest fear going into marriage and going into seminary? Miggy, I'm gonna make you start with this one.
Yeah, biggest fear. There's a lot that goes into it. Again, it's kind of hard to have that clear-sighted vision of oneself because of sin, and how deeply rooted it can be in our lives. Just looking back on the past and even now, it's like how is the Lord supposed to take me with all my imperfections and shape me into this this ideal man, who's going to have to lead and lay down his life for those in his flock and maybe even beyond. How can I even like fathom doing that? And there's that temptation to just be like, no, I kind of agree with the voices, like, you're not good enough for this. And even if there is some truth to that, I have to keep going back to, how God sees me. Because he's going to give me the tools, and I have to be very careful in staying open to how he's leading me. Otherwise, and not let pride enter. Whereas, like, I have to do this myself. Because if once I do that, that's where I would be most prone to fall. I think. Again, just knowing myself, looking back on the past. Fear of failure is definitely up there. In many different spheres. I mean, I could break that down further, but for the sake of time, I'd say that general, fear of failure.
Yeah, the fear of failure, of just like, even like being in seminary, and then also like post seminary, like being a priest. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Joey?
Yeah, very similarly. It's just like, as men, being called to like lay yourself down, and like really grappling with that of having kids and having a wife, like there is that duty of like, you are the protector. Like her dad is now entrusting me with being that protector. And like, there'll come that day where, like he isn't that person protecting her anymore. It's me. And of course, with getting married, it's just like, with getting married and becoming a father, there's just like the realness of the world of like, oh, I don't care what happens to me in terms of like what bad people do, but it's just like, you don't touch my wife and kids. It's just like, you don't do anything to them. And there's the real fear of like, not being strong enough, not being, just not being enough for whatever moment in time that is just like, where when I'm called to be that leader or be that defender, ending up shying away from it, or not being all that I can, or just like not even, or even with like not trusting God to like give me the strength to do it, falling short of that as well.
Just that fear of like failing in the moment almost. I think those are both very real and very similar in a lot of ways. And I think that's like kind of the point we were trying to get to this whole time, is like, these vocations, while, at the end of the day, there's an obvious distinct difference. They're really, similar pursuits of like, I'm pursuing, being a leader and being a father in different ways, or, being a provider and a protector. So, well, thank you guys so much for like just sharing your insights in that. And thank you for watching us on this first episode. There'll be more to come. But first we're gonna go record your mom's favorite podcast. Which so be sure to check that one out after this. That'll be a little more lighthearted. You know, we won't get into the real stuff. But this is good to like actually have like these real genuine conversations, because you know sometimes it's very necessary, and I think this is great. So thank you guys for being the first guests on this show, and we'll see you guys on like in the next, for the next segment of it.